we're so used to having an antagonist, a team, a Duke, a Carolina, a UNLV back in the day that people love to hate or wanted to see win. And over the past few years, because there's a lot of parity with regards to teams, you really haven't had the UConn, of course, when they made their run because they returned everybody in UConn, Villanova when they had their run because those guys were together. But, this year is just, it's kind of open, so to speak. And you're kind of waiting to see who emerges from these conference tournaments. And more than anything else is once the brackets are announced, it's all about matchups. Who's in that region? And that's very important, too, because like you said, style-wise, like a Michigan State who hasn't relied on a three-point line. When you go into deeper Sweet 16, Elite Eight, you're playing in these domes, whatever it is, and it feels cavernous. They're not relying on shooting the ball. Right. They're not relying on if the three ball is going in, does that make or break us as a team? So that in Houston, St. John's is a team that reminds me a lot of the 22-23 Houston Cougars team that didn't shoot the ball well from three, didn't shoot the ball well from the free throw line, but defended their butts off, limited teams' points, got out in transition, and they were heavy in second shots. So when St. John's comes in at a 5 or 6 seed, and they get into the right region, you see them playing in a Sweet 16 Elite Eight, you're like, uh-oh, is this the Houston team all over again? You know what I mean? So that's the beauty for me for this year is the excitement of the unknown and watching kind of stars emerge right in front of our eyes during the tournament. And that could be coaches and also players.
Yeah, coaches have a huge impact, way more than almost any other sport. And to see Rick Pitino, like this is going to be, talk about like, I mean, right? We just talked about not promoting the stars, but no, he is the guy that everybody wants to get their eyes on. Dan Hurley, I mean, UConn back-to-back champs and Houston. Like I always tell my degenerate gambler friends, if you're trying to get deep, go search the teams that have the best perimeter defenders. Typically, those teams will make a run because it's so guard-oriented, especially the NCAA tournament when the pressure and every possession matters and the intensity of it. That's why Baylor had such a great run those years because they had dogs on the perimeter. And like Davion Mitchell, to this day, I can still remember he's totally changing games the way he played defense. And so like if you want one specific thing to go look for, it's usually the teams that have the best perimeter defenders. They end up making a run. You think about some of those Arkansas teams of a few years ago, Alabama, like these guys, man, and especially if they have size that can guard the perimeter and force turnovers and easy baskets. That's the one counter to the teams that rely heavily on a three. If they have perimeter defenders that can get you easy buckets, then that can kind of swing things because it's such a momentum game. When you start getting turnovers and dunks, which is what great perimeter defenders end up forcing, turnovers and dunks turn into huge rallies. And then that spins off into like why coaches are so important, why Tom Izzo and Rick Pitino, they can feel those moments. They can try to stop those moments. To me, getting into the weeds of like what makes a team successful, almost always it's a team that is going to defend. And when you get to the NCAA tournament, knowing this could be the end of the line for you, that effort level goes through the charts. It goes through the roof there. So that's why guys who are running that way always tend to get our attention when we're prepping for games with teams who could make a serious run, and there are plenty of those teams out there.
Check out new episodes of The Jim Jackson Show every Thursday. Watch on the Rich Eisen Show YouTube page. Follow the show on Instagram @Jim Jackson Show, or listen wherever you get your podcasts.